Hey guys, it's Jen. Today's video is all about brand new products at Ulta that are under $12. So I have a bunch of things that I've shown in my weekly hauls this month and got a lot of requests to show all of these products and let you know my thoughts on them. So some of them I've been wearing for the past few weeks, others I'm just trying for the first time today, but I do plan to do a wear test with some check-ins throughout the day so you'll be able to see how all of these products hold up. So without further ado, let's get started. So I already went ahead and primed my face using the L'Oreal Studio Secrets Perfecting Base. This is one of the only primers that I use these days. Now that I'm older, I just can't use any old primer anymore because I have fine lines and texture, and this is one of the only ones that really helps to smooth it out, almost like spackle on a wall. And if a foundation doesn't look good over this, it's not gonna look good over anything. And it also makes sense that I would use it with the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define because the few times that I've used this already, I really struggled with it looking dry on my skin, and I want to give it the best possible chance and smooth out all my skin's issues before I go in and use this. So I've used this now several different ways. I've used it with primer, without primer, over an oil. I've used it, applied it with my fingers and applied it with a brush. I have not tried to apply it with a beauty sponge yet, so that's what I'm going to do today. That's kind of my last ditch attempt, and a lot of times beauty sponges help a foundation to look a little bit less dry on your skin, so I've been holding out that maybe that's the way that this is going to look the best on me. And honestly, I'm a little sad that this formula is so dry because one of the things I love about the Conceal and Define Concealer is that it's almost like a slightly more moisturizing version of Tarte Shape Tape. It has a little less coverage, but that's sort of what I like, and I was hoping that this would just be like a giant version of that, but the formula is definitely different. This one dries down super fast. You really have to work quickly with it, and it looks okay at first, but I just noticed wearing it throughout the course of the day that it really started to make the fine lines on my forehead apparent. When I first applied it, I didn't really see them, and then I looked in the mirror later and realized, wow, this is kind of sitting in my lines a little bit. It's accentuating things. It just made my cheeks look kind of dry and parched. So I'm hoping for the best with the beauty sponge. So let's go ahead and just apply it. I'm going to do one half of my face first so that you can see what the coverage is like, and then I'll just go ahead and do it all over my face. I'll also do a wear test today so I can let you know later on in the day, show you some photos up close, and you can really see what it looks like on my skin. So I'm using the shade F3, which I believe has more of a cool undertone to it, which is what my skin has. And it has this giant doe foot applicator, which a lot of people are not fond of. They feel like it's not sanitary to be stamping this all over your face. I actually apply it just to a clean hand, and that works pretty well for me. So I'm going to be using the Sonia Kashuk Giant Sponge. I really like this one lately, and it's so soft and squishy. It's really affordable as well. Okay, so doing just half my face, you can really see how full coverage this is. That was just one little swipe with the applicator, and I still have some on the back of my hand. I hardly used any, so it covered this entire side of my face really easily, and I don't feel like I need to add a concealer when I wear this foundation. It covers everything that I need it to cover really well. If you have extremely dark circles, you might need a little something extra, but for me, just the foundation on its own is perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead now and do the other side of my face, and then I'll show you the finished result. So I'm looking at it through the viewfinder now, and I feel like it looks really good. It covers absolutely everything that I need it to cover, but looking at it up close in the mirror, I'm already starting to see that it's really sitting on top of my skin. It's looking a little bit like a mask, which I really am not too crazy about right now. If I hold the mirror out here at arm's length, it looks fine, but again, just a little closer up, and it's not pretty. So anyway, I'll definitely do a check-in later on in the day and let you guys know how it's wearing. But one strange thing to note is that the beauty sponge didn't seem to sheer out the formula at all, which is strange because normally it does make a little bit of a difference if I am using a drier formula or just any foundation in general. It looks different with the beauty sponge than it does using a brush or my fingers, and this one pretty much looks exactly the same no matter how I use it. So I don't know, I just thought that was kind of strange. So next up for the face, I'm going to be using the new Essence Peachy Bean palette, and this has 2 blushes inside and 2 highlighters, and I tend to really enjoy Essence's blushes and highlighters, so I'm excited about this one. So I think for today's look, I'm going to be using the shade Berry Beautiful right here, and I'm going to be using my e.l.f. blush brush that I pretty much always use for blush. That is really pigmented. All right, so that is a really beautiful color. It's super pigmented as well. I was a little bit nervous at first when I started to apply it because I thought I was getting into crazy clown cheek territory, but it did blend out really, really nicely and seamlessly, so that's awesome. And then next I'm gonna be using the highlighter Golden Girl on this side right here. This one looks a little bit maybe too deep for my skin. It has a pink tone, so this one's more of just like a champagne highlighter, so I'm gonna go in with that one. So yeah, these are definitely more pigmented and shiny than their pure nude highlighters that I love so much. I don't usually wear brighter highlighters on an everyday basis, but it's nice to know that every once in a while when I do want more of a pop on my cheeks, these are really, really creamy. They blend beautifully. They're not chunky at all. They don't look super glittery on the cheeks either. They just look like shiny, which is the kind of highlighter that I definitely like. So thumbs up for that palette. I think it's really nice. So next I'm going to be testing out one of the new Almay Velvet Foil Cream Shadows. And I got a bunch of different colors of these and I swatched them all on my Instagram page. And swatching them, they felt really creamy and really smooth with the exception of the lightest shade. It's sort of like a white glittery shade. That one is a bit patchy and sort of chunky, so I wasn't really a fan of that one, but the rest of them seem to swatch really nicely, so I'm excited. I haven't tried these on my eyes yet at all, and usually when it comes to shadows like this, I'll either wear them on their own or I'll apply powder eyeshadows to my crease and outer corner and then just pop one of these on my lid. But today I think I'm just going to use it alone because I'm curious to see how they wear, and I think it might get skewed a little bit if it's on top of powder. It may not wear the same way that it would on just bare lids. So I really want to see how long lasting these are and whether or not they crease. So I'm going to be using the shade Paradise Found, which is a really pretty olive green color. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply these with my fingers and see how this goes. Okay, so that is one coat and it does sheer out considerably as you're blending it. So I think I might go in just with a second coat and see if that intensifies the color a little bit. So yeah, a second coat definitely deepened up the look a little bit, and I think these are so easy to work with. I was a little bit nervous. Sometimes cream shadows can be too liquidy and they get all over the place, but this has a very velvety, almost moussey texture, and I just used my ring finger to apply most of the product to my eyelid, and then I used a clean finger to blend it up and out so that it just faded a little bit as it went, and I think it's beautiful just for a one color look. I really, really like this a lot, and I love this green color too. It's so pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other eye really quick, and then we'll move on to mascara. All right, so moving on to mascara. This is the only product in the video today that I didn't purchase at Ulta, and it's the JOA Ice Cream Volume and Define Mascara. Now, if you watched my JOA video a couple of weeks ago, you know that I loved the one in the blue tube, and I saw Tati, I think it was, review this one, and her lashes looked amazing, and she loved this green tube. So I wanted to go back and get it because the JOA mascaras are all tubing mascaras, and those are the kind that just come off in little tubes at the end of the night. They're super easy to remove, and they don't smudge, they don't flake. They're amazing. amazing. And like I said, I really liked the blue formula that had the little fibers. I think it gave me a ton of length. But when I watched Tati's review, this green one seemed to give her just loads of volume. So I wanted to test this formula out as well. So let me just show you what the brush looks like before we get started. It's pretty skinny, which I like. I think it's easy to get to the root of your lashes with, and it's sort of a cone shape. So I like this type of wand, and it's not one of those really hard ones that feels like it's poking you in the eye all the time. So let's go ahead. This is my first time using this, so I'm really excited to see what it does. Okay, so here is before and after, and wow, you guys, this is giving me huge, like almost a false lash look. I think I like this one even better than the one in the blue tube. And if you remember, I really didn't care for the one in the pink tube. It didn't make a whole lot of difference in my lashes, but this one, wow, I mean, definitely impressive. So I'm excited about this one. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do my other eye, and then we'll finish off with lipstick. All right guys, so I'm back, and I actually just went and did my hair because my camera just died. It does this thing where if I'm filming for too long, it overheats, so I have to like wait and let it cool down for a little bit. I figured while it was doing that, let me finish my hair, and that way I could just do my lipstick and have the complete finished look. So for lipstick, I'm going to be wearing the new Almay Lip Vibes, and they just came out with this whole line of lipsticks in different finishes, and they kind of remind me of those Sephora collection, I think they're called Lip Stories. So I got the shade Worry Less, which is a really beautiful sort of rosy mauve color. I love the shade so much, and even though it's a matte finish, I have to say it wears more like a satin. It's not overly glossy, but it's not matte either. It's definitely more on the hydrating side. I'd say it's solidly a medium coverage. It covers up my natural lip color, but just barely. It doesn't go any further than that. And it has sort of a really mild vanilla scent. It's not too strong or overpowering. So I love that it's not like a rosy or perfumey scent because I can't stand those. All right, so here's what that shade looks like. I love, love, love this color so much, and I think it goes well with the look. It's a little more cool toned, and I have the green eyeshadow, so it's just so pretty. It feels so emollient too. I mean, it really almost feels like a tinted lip balm. To me, I don't even know why they said that this is a matte. So if you see the word matte on these, don't be afraid of them. If you're not a fan of matte lipsticks, it's definitely not matte. So it's very, very smooth and very, very silky. But I will say that because of the texture of it, it's not super long lasting either, which you'll see. What I'm gonna go ahead and do now is eat some lunch, and then I'll report back after lunch, and we'll see how the lipstick's wearing. We'll see how the makeup is holding up, and then I'll do a final check-in much later in the day after about 8 hours or so. So I will see you guys in a little bit. Hey guys, I'm just checking in. It's about the 3-hour mark or so. We just ran out to Target and just getting back home, and I have to say everything held up really, really well except for the lipstick, which wore off as soon as I ate lunch. I'm not quite sure about that whole matte finish thing because usually matte lipsticks hang on a bit longer, and this one just completely went away like a tinted lip balm. As I was saying before, it really just kind of has that emollient, slippery feel like a tinted lip balm would, so it didn't last at all. Even though I love the color, if you're looking for something that is long lasting, it's not going to be that. And what I have on my lips right now is actually one of the new chapstick lip oils. I just found it at Target, and I just put it on my lips really quick because they were feeling dry, and this is in the plum shade, Sheer Plum. So it looks really, really dark in the tube, but it's super sheer on the lips, and it's beautiful and super, super hydrating. I really am enjoying these. I think I featured the clear one in a video last week or the week before, and I finally found the colors. So love this, but I'm not so sure about the Almay lipstick. Even though I liked it when I was wearing it, it wears off way too quick. Everything else still looks pretty good. The blush and highlighter is still going strong. The eyeshadow has not creased at all. It looks pretty much like it did when I applied it. Same thing with the mascara. And the foundation looks pretty good as well. I take back what I said about it not being different with the beauty sponge, because now that I'm looking at it in natural light, I think The beauty sponge helped to maybe push it into my skin just a little bit more so that when it heated up with my skin, it melted in a lot better than it did when I used a brush or my fingers. But at first, it still looked kind of mask-like and heavy. And so I will check in again at the 8-hour mark and we'll see where we are. And then here's a close-up photo of me wearing the foundation at the 3-hour mark. And if you look around my eye area, you can see that the fine lines under my eyes are a little bit more pronounced than they would be wearing a more hydrating foundation. But on the rest of my face, it looks pretty smooth. It's not accentuating texture on my cheek. It has worn off a little bit around my nose area, but that's because I was blowing my nose a little bit. I feel like I might be getting sick. So overall, I don't think it's terrible, but it does seem to be enhancing my fine lines. Alright guys, so it is 5:42 p.m. and it's been about 8 hours since I applied all the makeup, and there were definitely some hits and misses here. I think the lipstick, while it was really pretty, the lasting power was awful. I don't know about some of the other finishes in the line, but this particular shade that I have in the matte finish wore off immediately after eating, and I found that it did wear off pretty quickly even when I wasn't eating on the other days that I wore it. So I feel like it has the staying power of a tinted lip balm or a lip gloss at best. I do love the mascara. I think it's amazing. It's still holding up really well. No smudging or flaking under my eyes, and it made my lashes look incredible. I also am really impressed with the Almay eyeshadows because it hasn't creased, it hasn't faded, it's still staying strong. And I don't have particularly oily eyelids. My eyelids are pretty dry, but I do have hooded eyes, so things do tend to crease on me pretty easily, and these did not. So that's awesome. And as far as the blush and highlighter palette goes, I feel like it went on really beautifully and it looked nice at first, but I can hardly see it at all on my cheeks anymore 8 hours later, so it doesn't have the best staying power. And then last but not least, when it comes to the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Foundation, I wanted to like this so much. I love Makeup Revolution. They're one of my favorite brands. And like I said, I love the concealer, but this just didn't do it for me. I feel like it ages me a little bit too much, and it was too hard to get it to look exactly the way that I want it, and it still didn't do that. I mean, today is the best it's looked since I started trying this a couple of weeks ago. But I really don't like to have to work too hard to try to get a foundation to look decent, because I have so many that just look great right away and I don't have to like jump through hoops to get them to look nice. And also I feel like this just ages me. It just makes my fine lines more apparent, and at 40 years old, it's not something that I want to happen. So I think if you're younger than I am and you don't have the fine lines and texture and you're looking for something full coverage, I think this is a great foundation for that. It hides so many things and it goes on really smoothly. I like the texture of it. I think it feels nice and lightweight on your skin. It's just not something that I'm personally going to be reaching for in the future, because like I said, there's a bunch of other foundations I have that are go-tos for me that I really love. So unfortunately, this one is going to be a pass for me. Alright guys, so that does it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. And also, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments and let me know what you thought of any of these products. Have you tried them? Do you still want to try any of them? I would love to hear your thoughts and chat with you guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.